the irony about the situation was that we were able, not the irony, but it was almost like the best of both worlds. We were able to benefit from Bob being in the industry in terms of spreading our show out, but there was also a barrier between me and that industry that Bob kind of controlled until, of course, people got my number and I became known in the industry. But by the time people had access to me, the show had already established its MO, and which was that you couldn't promote to us. So people knew how to get in touch with Bob. Bob would be like, yo, I'll pass the information along, I'll give Stretch the record, but I can't tell if he's gonna play it or not. And so in terms of industry shenanigans and BS, I really feel like we were insulated. We didn't really have to deal with that. And I think also because of what we created, we also had the respect. Because now people who work at labels, they know they got to do the BS. They got to promote records. Sometimes they're great, and when the record's great, you don't got to do much work. But when your record's whack, you gotta make deals. I'll give you this. Yeah. I'll make sure the artist comes to your show. I'll give you 10 test pressings, whatever they got to do. But I think that with our show, there was such a respect for what we did that we almost got a pass from promoters. And with the exception of one or two instances, which are in the film, we didn't really have to deal with it. I don't remember. I mean, for the most part, I've got very fond memories of promoters because they were never a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that just made me think, and I haven't thought about this in a long time. In 1989, I started at Def Jam, and like within 3 months, I became the college rep, and it was like a new sort of label at Def Jam because it had been done lightly beforehand, but it had never really been done like as a full-time position because the label was the label in the 80s and 90s. I want to be being one of those spokespersons within the industry to protect it. And then when we got on the radio, even more so, because I was the only person that I can remember that did promotions and was on college radio at the same time. And so I think that was another level of insulation in that promoters from the different labels, they couldn't really try to run the trickery or, the pressure on us because I was one of them, and I think aside from our show having this sort of like pure approach to hip hop that no one wanted to spoil, that was another level of like, yo, chill, like this is not the place for it. But the other thing that's in real detail that I haven't thought about in a long time was that I was a moderator for a CMJ panel with Albie Ragusa from Tommy Boy, I think Jeff Sledge from Wild Pitch, I think, in either 89 or 90. And it was the moment that CMJ decided to start a rap chart where college radio stations wouldn't just submit their top 10 songs, but top 10 rap songs. And I said at that meeting, like, yo, to everyone here, like, don't get caught up in the number. We don't want to create this sort of facade of what's the best record, similar to like what happens in the Billboard charts where record labels were like, paying for spots and, a record would go number one. It really wasn't the hottest record, and I was like, because the beauty of college radio was, yo, we're doing this, no one's getting paid for this. And I said that, and yet you had promoters afterwards like pressuring college radio DJs like, yo, give me that number one for this week. Because they knew that like if they got a record to number one, it would look good to their bosses and everything. And luckily I was at Def Jam, all our records were number one. We didn't have to worry about chart numbers, and Russell and Lior were very supportive in me just being an honest promoter. And that's, I think, what endeared me to a lot of the college radio DJs. In 92 and 93, I got voted college rap radio promotions person of the year by the Gavin Report, which is a trade publication.
Simultaneous to us getting college rap show of the year 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
Yeah. So we basically were running.
It seemed like double dipping.
But
conflict of interest.
Yeah, but nah, I mean, we had it. We had it. We had a stronghold on it.
I used the first Swiss beat. For anybody that don't know, I was the first one to ever use a Swiss beat on the first Lox album, All for the Love. That's the first Swiss beat ever known to the world.
The guy that drew that is the guy that was gonna be my MC. and it said KRS-One, I think. So KRS' first affiliation with Boogie Down Productions that I could see is that.
Many memorable moments working with Heavy D, many. Like, I mean, we go back before making records. It's crazy, you know. I think about him every day. I dream about him. And you know, he actually took me under his wing. You know, made people realize you know, that I was talented. You know, he bragged about me to people.
No, I think this was like maybe 10 years later. I don't know the exact span of time. His kid comes back with an embossed plate of food with Flavor's Bite out of it to get signed. The plate hangs on a rope.